Last October, Olympus announced some pretty major changes to its company, and since then we've seen a newly branded 20mm lens. Well, today it gives me great pleasure to show you this, the brand new OM-1 from OM Digital. On a 50th anniversary from when we first heard that name back in 1972, this new camera has some flagship stills and video features, along with improvements to its AI detection, image stabilization, and so much more. I should probably start with the elephant in the room. For a new camera under the new OM system umbrella, it is a little bit strange to see Olympus written across the front. Well, it's been confirmed that this will be the last time that we see that Olympus name on a new release, and it serves as that final farewell. Inside the OM-1 we find a newly developed 20 megapixel stacked backside illuminated micro four thirds sensor that's partnered with a new TruePic X imaging processor. This combination is the base for the improvements seen in the OM's dynamic range, image detail and noise performance. The sensor also sees the addition of a quad Bayer pattern, which in simple terms means the filter's colourful mosaic of red, green and blue that covers the sensor has 4 sub-pixels located underneath each of those primary colours. Those additional sub-pixels have an independent readout, enabling cross-type phase detection across the whole imaging area. Now, although it's still a bright day out here, we've got this kind of big blanket of cloud covering most of the sky, making some of the subjects kind of, fade away quite easily. Now, what's impressive to see is the OM-1's focus and tracking, being able to pick out those subjects and focus with ease. This is namely due to the new TruePic X processor, which is 3 times faster than the previous versions, along with being 3 times quicker at performing both autofocus calculations and AI detections. Along with the previously seen motor vehicle, aeroplane, trains and bird detection, we now have the addition of canine and feline. When in bird mode, the OM-1 had no troubles picking up on my subjects and even locked onto their eyes. More impressively, when I was struggling to find the kingfisher on the other side of the lake in amongst all the bushes, the OM actually detected it before I saw him for myself. This tracking is also now supported in single and continuous AF modes, making it a very handy tool to use. Covering the entire imaging area, we find the cross-quad pixel AF that consists of 1053 cross-type points, giving phase detection AF in 4 directions, and it appears to lock on with ease. We also benefit from low light focusing down to an impressive -8 EV. So we've been sat here quite quietly for some time, and thankfully there is some wildlife out there. My current setup on the OM-1 at the moment is the 150 to 400mm Pro lens and the MC14 teleconverter. Now in 35mm equivalent, with the built-in 1.25 converter in the lens, along with that 1.4 teleconverter, I'm actually shooting at 1400mm handheld. Being able to hold this complete setup steady is thanks to 7 steps of stabilization available within the body alone. But when using compatible lenses, you can gain an extra step, allowing for better handheld shooting. Another thing to note is that it also works in the modes like live composite and live bulb. Now, this is probably a good time to talk about the OM-1's continuous burst shooting performance, as it is pretty quick. The headline spec is that you can shoot at 120 frames per second when your autofocus and auto exposure is locked, whereas if you wish to use the tracking features, your frames per second step down to 50. Do bear in mind that 50 frames per second is only possible with compatible lenses, but this does include the 12 to 40mm, the 12 to 100 and the 150-400, which I'm using mostly today. With a blackout-free viewfinder and silent shooting available, you do need to be a little bit careful when selecting your desired drive mode, because I managed to fill up my cards a little too quickly. Pro Capture is also available at those speeds, giving you almost a whole second of time back, thanks to the 92 raw images the buffer can handle. Smaller sensors and lower megapixels sometimes come into question when people are looking to get detailed images, but thanks to the OM-1's high-res mode, users can shoot up to 50 megapixels handheld or 80 megapixels when using a tripod. The processing time in both modes has been significantly reduced, and it only takes approximately 5 seconds to merge the multiple images together and create that 50 megapixel image, which is ideal for landscape and architectural photographers. Something that is quite nice is the new quick access buttons to enable these modes, by holding down that video recording button and scrolling using the dial. I found this so much better than the previous models where you had to trawl through multiple different menus. We also still find the fan favourites with live composite, HDR shooting, live ND, which now goes up to an ND64 to slow down your shutter even further, along with focus stacking that's perfect for those macro shots. And its processing time is now 2 times faster thanks to that TruePic X Processor. Content and video creators have definitely not been forgotten with the new OM-1, as they have jam-packed this little beast with features far beyond our expectations. Starting us off, we have Cine 4K up to 60p from an oversampled 5K image with no cropping, resulting in smooth, highly detailed footage. By stepping down to Full HD, you can shoot slow motion content at a maximum 240 frames per second, but this does result in a crop to your final shot. OM System has also added the addition of supporting both H.264 and H.265, letting the OM-1 capture internally at either 8-bit or 10-bit 422 for your desired level of content. For any up-and-coming or pro-level video shooters, using an external recorder, the OM-1 can output Apple ProRes RAW at an impressive 12-bit 444, letting you have far better control when grading your footage in post. Useful tools like zebra patterns for your high and low lights, red frame displays for lining up your subjects, and HDR video capture all help to make the OM-1 a video creator's dream. The newly designed electronic viewfinder has dramatically improved with its 5.7 million dot OLED display that recycles at 120 frames per second, along with being blackout free when continuous shooting. The OM-1 also benefits from an anti-fog coating, so if you're out in wetter conditions, you can still focus on the subjects you are capturing. Protecting your camera in tougher environments can be challenging at times, but thanks to their previous knowledge and the improved weather sealings found inside the OM-1, you can continue shooting far beyond your comfort zone. I would never suggest doing this to your own kit, but the OM-1 is now rated to an IP53, helping to prevent any unwanted dust, grit or water from damaging your camera. It's freeze-proof down to -10 degrees, and the sensor utilises that supersonic wave system to shake off any unwanted dust or dirt that could ruin your images. It is again worth checking any pre-existing or new kit that you buy to make sure that it's compatible with that IP rating, but if you're using any of the Pro lenses, these should be all okay. Powering the OM-1 is a brand new BLX1 battery, which might disappoint some of the current Olympus users who are hoping to save a few pennies on spare batteries, but this new one has a higher capacity that's capable of recording 25% more and rated up to 520 shots per charge. When using the OM-1 for the day, I used far less power than I had expected, and I feel it could have easily continued into a second day of shooting. The OM-1 does not come with a battery charger and uses the provided USB-C cable as its form of power supply. What's nice is that you can take a power bank out with you and not only top up your battery levels, but also power the camera directly from a compatible bank whilst the camera is in use. For any video or studio users, you'll also be pleased to hear that the HDMI and USB-C ports are both accessible at the same time, and neither of the cables get in the way of one another. All of your content is saved across to one of the two UHS-2 compatible SD card slots, and we now benefit from a new user interface throughout the menu. We no longer have multiple areas to click into, because everything is simply displayed in view as we scroll through the options. You can use the front dial to quickly change between the main categories, whereas using the rear dial you can shift through the page number in that category. OM System has also added a really helpful feature where if you try to select a greyed out menu option, a small window will appear and explain why it is currently not available.
I think it's safe to say that some of us were unsure what the future held for Olympus when they transitioned across to OM Digital. But with releases like this, I think we're left reassured that there's a bright future to come. The OM-1 builds upon everything we've come to love in previous models and gives users a powerhouse camera that's small, compact and light enough to carry around with you for the day and doesn't compromise on any of the spec or features. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell to get notifications of all our latest content, and if you'd like any more information, please check out the link below or pop in to your local London Camera Exchange.